All righty, folks. We all just got that. A great, according to some, episode of Vanderpump Rules to kick off the season here. Welcome to the show that, in the words of Lala, feels like throwing up and shitting at the same time. It is, of course, Trainwreck Rules. I'm Maniac, and we're bringing in some coverage here in the form of Cover One's Aaron Quinn. Aaron, we've been talking about the show for a while. It's finally back. Pump is back.
That's it, man. First of all, appreciate you reaching out to me. My wife laughed a little bit that I was going to be an expert panel about Vanderpump Rules. She's much more Bravo-y than me, but Vanderpump is my bag. I'm in my bag.
Listen, everyone has a niche, and let's face it, it's like a short game in golf. We won't get into that with you, though, Mr.
It's not good.
Mr. Calloway over there. But with that said, speaking of a scandal, like you buying from Calloway when you know my allegiance, notes on a scandal. We got the episode reaction. I thought this was a very generic, like, let's get back. This is almost like, last year was so crazy with Scandival. I feel like the producers were like, we're going to have more viewers than ever. Let's kind of reel it in back to what, Vanderpump was successful with. That's making these people real. That's giving them real issues to deal with. And I think that's what this episode did well, while blending in the rest of the Scandival fallout.
Yeah, I'm sorry I lost my cam here on
You're
you.
good. You're good.
There we go. We're back.
Okay, thank goodness. That was a scandal in itself.
Close call. This was your typical, like you said, it was so reactionary at the end of last season that you really had every first episode is going to be tying up where has everybody been, what's everybody been doing. You're going to get a little bit of that, but just slowly ramping up, bringing everybody back into the story of what's going on. And I don't know if it was the producers or not tying it up with Tom's trip of Tom not being involved here until the very end, but that was kind of perfect to not have Scandival really associated with all this at all, because he was so combustible to the whole situation, and then kind of bringing him back as a teaser, right? To give you a little bit of breadcrumbs for the next one.
Yeah, I think what the opening segment lacked in punch, which I call it the check-in segment. You're always checking in with the characters. They always do their, every character gets a couple minutes. I thought it fell a little flat, but the ending, obviously, I thought hit the notes on the high note where it wanted to be. So let's get into it. Any moments from this episode stick out to you? There was some great stuff. The citrus piss candle. You had Butters was mad at the blender making a noise that was like a ghost orgasming. But really, this episode was about, like I said, people dealing with their issues. So you have James buying his house. You have Brock and Sheena playing like home and family and still, dealing with that fallout there. And then you have the more complicated ones like Lala and her continued custody battle with Ocean. Her mom now living with her. By the way, props to Lala for moving her mom in. That's always a power move. I don't care who you are, but
I would not do that. But yeah.
Oh no, it's a scene, man. But yeah. Speaking of power moves, you have Ariana going into Tom Tom. Says she's nervous, but didn't seem too frazzled when she went through and once got the jitters out of the way.
Yeah, dude. The whole their living situation, still owning a house together and living separately, but together, communicating through his assistant. First of all, crazy that Tom Sandoval has an assistant, right? Like if you make enough money for an assistant, you probably could also move out of the house that you're sharing. So that's a little bit weird to me, but yeah. And also Tom Schwartz becoming like a weird plant dad, bug dad, trying to figure out where he fits into stuff. So yeah, it's a little weird, her going to Tom Tom, but it feels like Ariana is a little bit putting herself in a worse situation than she needs to be. And I don't know if that's an attention thing with Ariana or what's going on, but like staying with Tom, going and hanging out at Tom Tom, knowing that Schwartz is going to be there and you're going to have to be Ice Queenie to him. It just feels added drama where your life's got enough. What are you doing?
Yeah, a great point by my girlfriend. Kudos to her. But I think that, we're kind of almost Scandival'd out at this point where, it's been going on so long, even though we're excited for Pump Rules to come back, as evidenced by, I'm sure, the show viewership numbers tomorrow. But we have to remember it's only been about 60 to 90 days for these characters since it happened. So it's not like shocking that it's still so prominent. And I think you see that with Ariana's spite level. First off, looking at me, it doesn't take me anything to get spiteful of people. But, I give her credit. I think she's doing great. I love Schwartz, but I can't fault her for shunning him a la Dwight from The Office.
Yeah, no, he should be. And the stuff that he said last season, this is my problem with Schwartz, is he is the ultimate like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. But then every time they cut to a like scene where he's talking to somebody, he's the worst of all of these people in the stuff he says. So everyone should be mad at him and treat him in that way, because then he comes around with that doofus like, "Oh, hey Ariana, like I good to see you." Like he knows better. Come on, Schwartz.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he knew, like, he had a shit-eating grin when he said hi to her. So I mean, I'm talking about. I guess they have numbers blocked. There was a lot of talk about blocking in this episode.
Yes.
I think Bruce Nolan would have loved this episode.
Yeah.
Based on that as well. But let's talk about our show, and we're not blocking out anybody. Thank you everyone for tuning in here right now, live on Facebook and Twitter. This will get to YouTube, and we will be doing it weekly until Aaron taps out or begs for mercy.
That's right.
But with that said, we're going to give every episode a show score, 0 to 10 at the end, so we can grade the season, see which episodes are best. We're going to have a poo-poo head of the night, and we're going to have our Vanderpump power rankings. Now, I've made these as confusing as possible, so let me make them clear. We're going to rank the top 5 characters from each episode. Character 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Fifth is fifth place. Fifth place gets 1. Fourth place gets 2. Third place gets 3. Second place gets 4. First place gets 5. At the end of the season, we add up all the power rankings, and we will have a season champion, AQ.
All right.
So with that said, let's get underway. Show score. Do you have one dialed up, or should I kick it off here?
You go ahead and kick it off. I want to see where you land at here with the first episode.
All right. So what I did was I graded every segment individually because I'm a psychopath. Okay. Yeah. I gave the first segment, and I went even numbers to make it easy on myself. First segment, I went 7. Second segment with the citrus piss candle, I went 9. I thought that was a really good one. Also, that was when Ariana's text to Schwartz was revealed. Go choke on Sandoval's dirty ass dick. That was
I also love California Sober.
California Sober.
I didn't know. That's the first time I've heard that term, and I love it. That's
shout
a great
out,
way to live.
Shout out Herbal IQ. Yeah. 100% a great way to live. 7, 9. Middle segment, I gave an 8, 7, and then a 5. I thought the segment before the end was kind of weak. It was just the girls at dinner. It was Butters at home with Schwartz. Now, I will say the one thing that knocked my face off, Ariana was in an Olympics commercial. Okay, so if you're thinking Vanderpump is not a massive reach, I know that NBC obviously owns Bravo. It's pretty pretty easy to figure out how that goes, but they're not pulling everyone to do Olympic spots.
Right.
So shout out Ariana Maddox getting that done. But again, the final segment, I gave an 8. A lot going on there. You had the fallout. Were you surprised that Ariana and Lala were able to iron it out there at the end? I thought we were going to have some combustibles.
I thought it might get a little combustible. I got a lot of problems with Lala, and we'll get into that in the power rankings on this one. I just felt like she made a lot of this stuff feel about Lala today more than about her friends and stuff. And so I thought that scene and where they called out the hypocrisy and they showed the clips of her during her affair and all that stuff. I thought that they would all.
We are going to get into that in the power rankings for sure. But
I'm actually surprised Katie didn't get to. Katie is so hot all the time and just looking to jump on people. I thought she would really get in there and get more chirping on that one, but we didn't get it.
Okay, so I gave it a 7.4.
Okay,
with my so what do you got, AQ?
So I didn't do the individual segments, but overall episode, I'm gonna go with a 6.5 on this one. But again, it's a starter. We're just getting back.
It ended strong. We saw.
Oh, the teaser was a 9.
Teaser was off the chain for sure. And now we've got our segment. So again, we got our show ranking. You gave it what did you say? You gave it 6?
6.5.
6. Okay, 6.5. I gave it a 7.4. So we're not far off. The poo-poo head of the night. So for this is obvious. This is Tom Sandoval. You're hearing about workers getting harassed. You're hearing about all the fallout from all of his behavior. So that's an easy one for me. Sandoval, poo-poo head of the night.
Well, I think that is probably going to be a recurring theme for him, but I didn't give it to Sandoval because he wasn't directly in the episode. For me, it was Lala, and I felt that there was a lack of sincerity behind her conversation with Lisa and reaching out to Raquel and the conversation that she had with Ariana and like, oh, do you even like me? And then, and also, by the way, I reached out to Raquel. It just felt like none of it felt sincere to me. It all felt like a way to make some of this attention about Lala. And Sheena had a little bit of that too. And you heard that in her interview and saying, if she would have just slept with my friend, that wouldn't have been a big deal. But she put a restraining order on me. And so now I hate her. And it's like, you guys are supposed to be friends with Ariana, but you're kind of twisting this horrible thing that's happened to her to make it like, but also me, I'm a victim too. And so their poo-poo head, Lala gets the poo-poo head for me. Oh, you're muted.
I think that's a fair poo-poo head, 100%. So those are our inaugural. I got Sandoval, you got Lala. So let's get into our power rankings. Again, we'll be tracking these season long, and we'll ultimately have a season champion. I'll lead off here. So let me go through. I got at number 5, I got Tom Schwartz. He's down and out, but he's making his way back. He's got the Beatles bugs. He's feeling his vibe there. He seems to be getting a little bit of his mojo back, so I figured I'd give him the 5 spot. I ranked him above Katie Maloney, Sheena, Brock.
He didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, not a big upset. Allie, Lisa, Lala's mom, who I thought maybe, could make a play there. 4, Lala. But right now, I want to point to you because she's your poo-poo head, so this is very funny. But I have in my notes, this may backfire on me. The Raquel segment was framed to seem very sympathetic and genuine, but then Lala also could just be making it about her and just kind of leveraging that situation. I have that in my notes. So I put Lala at 4.
We're vibing.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. At 3, I have Lisa Vanderpump. So Lisa Vanderpump will always almost be in my rankings. I love how she could just effortlessly get into the group, so far above it, immerse herself, make them all empathetic and get right out. James, good episode. Not the greatest location for his house. We can all admit that, but he bought a house. He's got his long-term relationship. He's doing well in his career. Number 2. I think that gets James too. And he's the top guy in the group now. That's just a fact.
Number 1.
You can tell.
For now. Yeah.
For now. And Ariana, she started slow, and I thought the spite was going to wear on me, but that slow mode dancing montage and Tom, that just sealed it. She's number 1.
Okay.
What do you got, Quinn?
We aren't too far apart here. So I have number 5, I have Lala. Super hard on her on this episode. I think it's all disingenuous coming from Lala. I just don't trust her. Number 4 was Sheena. Again, same vibe as Lala in that I felt like that comment about the restraining order being a bigger deal than what happened to Ariana rubbed me the wrong way, and that it's about you and you're trying to make this about you, and the whole thing that happened sent me into a tizzy and it ruined my life and now I'm on medication. Like I appreciate mental health and all that stuff, but she made it more about her than about her friends, so she gets knocked for that. Number 3, I have Tom. It's just more Tom being Tom. Schwartz, not Sandoval. Obviously, he's not in the episode, so Tom gets there. There was a little bit of the problem with Schwartz is he's always just slightly redeeming, and that's difficult for me.
Number 2 is a childhood innocence.
He does. The plant dad thing caught me. I love plants. Him just having his house full of plants, that stuff like that. He's got a little redeeming qualities in him. And so here's where we're pretty different though, is just flipping number 1 and 2. So I had Ariana at 2. I applaud her strength. That's tough to have all this go out into the public and deal with it. Like reality TV is not all reality, but this was for real. Like there was a real, hurt that happened to her and she's still going through it, and so shout out to her. But number 1, James Kennedy, dude, like you said, number 1 man in the group right now, got himself, he's not drinking, he's in a good spot, he's vibing, he feels good. I'm happy for him. James looks good, and when James is doing well, he's one of the best characters on this show.
Funny, charismatic, good dude for sure.
He's fun to cheer for. When he's drinking and he's out crazy, that's also fun. But when he's in a good vibe, I feel good for him. And he, more than Lala and Sheena and those people that are trying to make it about himself, he has more of a connection to what actually happened, and that Raquel was his ex. Like they were engaged. Like that was a real thing. And for Tom to do that to him and Ariana, those two get the top of the power rankings for me.
I love it. Okay, so obviously our early winners are James and Ariana as far as point system. We'll get the graphic out for next week. But folks, thanks for tuning in with me and AQ here on Trainwreck Rules. Make sure to go have a good night now.